guys, we wanted to talk about the very exciting topics: fixing a house, buying, and fixing the house.
But first, let's hit it. Hi, this is Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel.
And if this is your first time in our channel and you wanted to know everything about Greenville, Winterville, Pitt County, all the way to Raleigh, please subscribe in our channel. Also, give us thumbs up and get notified when we put a new video for you.
Honestly, I get calls, texts, and emails all the time from people just like you. Maybe you're looking for your first home. Maybe you're looking for your next home. Maybe you're looking to upsize, downsize, relocate, shift, all of these things. We are here to try to help you, and we love helping people. So don't be shy. You're seeing our personalities right here, and now we'd love to know you too. So please call us or email us or text, because we're here for you.
Okay, what is the objective for fixing a house?
Yes.
Basically, is an investment for you and your family that hopefully you can live in it, no?
Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes people will say this is all I can afford, but then if you need to live in it and it is not livable, it is actually not affordable because it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Exactly.
But if you do have some cash and you're thinking, I want to buy a home on the cheap, and then you're looking to fix it, my husband's going to go into the math in and of itself and how much you should be thinking about how much this thing is going to cost you. And that is what we're trying to do today, and just kind of have a understanding. When you look at these homes that are not the prettiest on the block, they're the ugliest on the block, what you can be thinking when you're calculating how much it's going to actually cost you in numbers. So that is where this is coming from, and we hope this is awesome. So
therefore, many people, when it comes to this fixing,
fixing,
they basically make the process so complicated and they don't take even the action.
Right.
Therefore, here we are breaking down everything to the simplest step for you, that you can take action. If you are motivated and you wanted to do it, you can take an action.
All right, so let's just talk about it. Step one is we have to find a property. And then number two, you're going to calculate, which is what my husband's going to really break down for us today, that after appraisal value and how much we're going to get once you do those upgrades. And then we're going to simply do some math and subtract your costs, and then you can see if it's worth your time and effort. So what are the steps?
Therefore, as my wife said, we wanted to do the value after effect that
you're going to explain the math, yes.
Then hopefully the good price, you're buying it, and then subtract this math that we were talking about. Therefore, the first important thing is searching for property. That, of course, you need a knowledgeable real estate agent that knows the market
and the math when we're talking about it for this case,
and basically the math, which is us, and searching for that property. You can also, however, you can find these properties in the different sources.
Right. So foreclosure list, wholesalers, just whatever's out there.
Or
so
courthouse.
Yes, the courthouse staff. So that's going to be a foreclosure. Everybody wants the property, but not everybody knows how to fix. So you really kind of have to have these targets in mind. And then we're going to talk about his math and how to calculate if you can actually afford this house. So what kind of home do you recommend?
Therefore, first step was searching for property. And as my wife said, you wanted to look at a property that is a norm. Of course, you can go with any route. You can even upgrade the mobile home. But if you're looking at what we wanted to talk about, the norm is, or typical target for fixing your house is a single family home, basically, that has at least 3 bedrooms.
2 baths.
3 bedroom, 2 baths, 2-car garage, mostly wine break, and it could have a vinyl too.
It could be a vinyl. What kind of roof?
And it can have a pitch roof and built hopefully 1965, after 1965.
And you want about 2,000 square feet.
And a square feet, 1,000 minimum, all the way to 2,000.
Right.
Well, of course, you're going to ask me, okay, what about if it was 980? What about if it was 2,100? Of course, there's always things. This is the norm that we are talking about.
Why? Because these are what you are going to get with resale value and where most of your equity is going to come from. If it's a good house in a good neighborhood at a good price, then this is the house we want to think about. So now we have said, okay, this is kind of the target we're thinking here. Now what?
And of course, number one is always his location. Therefore, you wanted to get in a place that is acceptable location. And if you spend on the house that has a reasonable in the foreclosure, of course, you have the value in the house.
Right. So keep going. What's next?
The next one that we are not going to go deep into it is financing, no?
Right. Okay, so financing for a fixer-upper is a little different.
Exactly.
If it is a livable house, and this means livable, its basic bones are in order, then you might be able to use your regular mortgage, which is going to be a conventional. FHA is going to have more stricter guidelines. USDA is going to have stricter guidelines. That doesn't mean that you can't get a house with some problems. It just means that you have to be looking at a livable house. So here we're talking about if it is really bad, then maybe you're going to have to go to the 203K FHA, which is a fixing the house. And then you have to have 3 inspections, and that's a whole other question of how that works. But have your finance in order and make sure they understand that you are looking at a house that you're going to fix.
Therefore, the number 3 steps is basically acquiring a place. No?
Right, which is where now we've gone through the financing and now you're closing on this home. Yay! And here's where the numbers really come into play, because now you want to renovate it.
Exactly. And then number 4 is going to be renovating that my wife already said it.
And then, we're
live in it. And number 5, you live in it.
Live in it and it's yours and you're doing awesome. So next one, now we're going to talk about, you have to look at the math. Is this going to be a rehab? And don't walk away from deals that do need some work. But before we get into the work, sorry, I forgot. We should be looking at 3 things when you're looking at the buying the house.
Exactly.
Must do it, should do it, and the wow factor. What is the must do it?
Therefore, basically anything that you first run as your real estate agent do, this is what location you are, no?
No, isn't it roof, foundation?
Yes. That is the must do, and then basically is roof, foundation, and also flooring. And to be honest, light fixture and appliances comes next. But what is important is roof, foundation, HVAC, and flooring. These 4 things is super important.
Right. Once you have your 4 major items down, and he's going to talk about the math, then we're going to have should do it. Maybe you should upgrade those appliances to the better appliances. Maybe you should do stuff that, paint the walls and whatever else it needs to be, like take that ugly wallpapering down and put your, paint on there.
Exactly.
So these are the should do's. And then one thing at the end, you should be thinking about a wow factor. So this is like, maybe the house doesn't have granite counters and you want people to walk in that house and say, wow. And maybe you don't have to replace all of the cabinets. You can paint the cabinets, but then adding a granite counter is your wow factor to where it's not something you need and it's not something you should.
Exactly.
But it does give you this one wow factor. I wouldn't recommend the whole house having wow factors because you're going to overprice your home or put too much work into a house that doesn't need it. But having one and figuring out what that one is that you want is up to you. Okay, so now let's talk about the math, right?
Yes. Therefore, adding all to what my wife said, your real estate agent need to run for you some comparables to say based off the house, which house is located in a nice area or okay area, to add up to this must do, should do, and valleys. And when we say this 3 lists, each of these 3, there is a cost associated with them that we wanted to be aware that what is the cost associated with. No?
Yes. So let's move on to our math, right? So let's just talk about how much basic things cost.
Exactly. What each basic things cost. Therefore, if you wanted to repair a house, there is a basically I wanted to do before that, we wanted to evaluate the deals, first, because
absolutely. Your real estate agent, you should be evaluating, because if the house would actually be worth $300 and you got it $200, that means there's $100,000 in equity, but the rest of the math is going to come into play.
Therefore, imagine that you found a house like $100,000, no?
Amazing.
And then your real estate tell you, oh, this house, if you repair it, it worth $200,000. And then that comes to this question, that is going to work for me to put all the financing and fix it and start living in it or no. Therefore, there is a traditional formula that people were using and are still using, that investors are also using it, that this formula is 70% of ARV, which is after repaired value, minus the repair cost.
So that $200,000 minus the repair cost that we're going to get
is what we wanted to offer. Right. No, of course you can go to 0.75, 0.8 or 80%, but the thing is you wanted to have the maximum
of what you should be offering for that house.
Exactly. Okay. Therefore, now we gave you this formula, then 70% of the after repair minus custom value.
We'll answer those people later.
And then we're going to answer it later.
Because we want to get into the math. So the quick rehab analysis. Let's just talk about how much that costs.
And my phone is ringing.
We said that.
And then basically what we wanted to do is now to tell you what is the repair cost is. Because that is super important.
And why you're here.
And let's start with this list. If you're talking about basic minor paint, new basic flooring, and some miscellaneous items, in this market that labor and the materials went up, you're talking about $14 to $15 per each square feet.
Right.
No?
Mm-hmm. And then if you want to add in those countertops or some specific lighting, then we're talking $20 a square foot.
Yes. And if you wanted to have extensive repairs, you're looking at something around $27 to $28 in a square feet.
Now, if you have to gut the house, we're talking about $30 to $35 per square foot.
Therefore, on top of this item, also, you need to remember the major components of the house.
And how much they cost, right?
Which is AC, roof, and foundation. This is super important. Therefore, those are major items that is different from all these four categories that we gave you as a square per foot cost for the house.
Right, because now you know how much, let's just say the house doesn't have an HVAC and you want to add an HVAC because you want air conditioning. Now we're talking about $9,000. It's give or take a little bit. You can go up to $12,000, but that's how much you have to know those numbers as well when we're walking in. So it has to just be something we're talking about.
Therefore, what is important at this point that you wanted to take action, the most important thing is you need some ballpark pricing from general contractors that they come with to your place and make sure that they give you estimate and ballpark about, because sometimes you don't get the estimate and you just walk away from the things that you can really spend money and start living in it. But you don't know till you get this guesstimate and ballpark from there.
Now, you might think that's going to take so much work, but if you do have the cash, it can be between 4 to 6 extra weeks. So we're not talking about forever. And what's nice about buying these fixer-uppers is you have made it yours. You've made it your own, and you have picked a lot of things out yourself, and that is always a good thing if you are, picky. And it's kind of, you've kind of looked at a rack and you have now made it beautiful and yours. So that is a great benefit of this type of thing. So I hope this video was useful.
And also, before my wife ends the video, I just wanted to see that every estimating repairs that you have is basically should not exceed with what comparables is in the market is.
Right.
Always remember,
and your
buying your home, selling your home. If you wanted to do something reasonable, you cannot make a palace in the neighborhood that is not in that stage.
Right.
No?
If you're looking at a house and every other house is $100,000 and you paid $60,000, and even if you make that house a palace, you're only going to get $100,000 for it maximum.
Yes.
So I wouldn't spend in a place where you're not. That's where your realtor comes into play and why you guys have had to talk about this math.
Yes. I hope this video was useful. Yes. And thank you for watching our YouTube channel and looking forward to working with you guys. Don't forget to call us and see you next video. Bye. And have a wonderful day, guys. Bye. Bye.